What does the future of tattooing look like? That's not just a question, it's a responsibility we all carry. This past weekend, Sean Brown and I traveled to the Villain Arts Tattoo Convention in New Orleans for the APT's annual membership meeting. The APT is the Alliance for Professional Tattooists, for those of you who are not familiar. This trip wasn't just about attending a meeting. This trip was a moment in time that will forever change the course of tattooing's future. This is a turning point and a call for alignment, because for the very first time, directly from the APT booth, Sean Brown and I officially launched 2 initiatives that are here to protect, preserve, and elevate our industry. Tima, the Tattoo Industry Manufacturers Alliance, and the Inktegrity Project, a new gold standard for compliance, education, and collaboration. We also had the privilege of sitting down with Ben Shaw, someone who's been on the front lines of tattoo safety and policy for a very long time, to go deeper into what these projects mean for you, your shop, your clients, and for the global tattoo community. This episode is for everyone who gives a damn about tattooing. Whether you're an artist, a brand, a manufacturer, a policymaker, or someone who believes tattooing should remain independent and responsible, you need to hear this. We're not here to create more red tape. We're here to provide the bridge between artistry and advocacy, between passion and policy. This is your official invitation to join us. To learn more, visit tima-tattoo.org or inktegrityproject.org to learn, to share, and to be part of something bigger than your studio walls. Because the future of tattooing will not be decided for us as long as we stand together. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we did it today. It's a history-making day today. We officially launched Tima and Inktegrity today.
Yeah.
Here at the Villain Arts Show in New Orleans.
Great presentation, too, guys. I think you guys really laid it out nice and clean. I'm hoping that we can kind of discuss the logistics and the details of what you shared, because I think it's important for everyone to understand what Tima is, what it is not, right? Same with Inktegrity. More so is how it's going to play in the role of the tattoo industry as a whole and help out the practitioners as well, right? I think we need to clarify that, you know, the Tattoo Industry Manufacturing Alliance is much important to the practitioner as the APT is, to a degree, right? It's the ones that are producing the products that we use, right? We're nothing without our tattoo inks, right? We're nothing without our products too, just like we're nothing without our clients. And they seem like too far away at times, and I think that's where you guys brought in Inktegrity, right? Mm-hmm. And Inktegrity is that kind of spot in between, that sweet spot, which I think is really important to kind of to clarify the details, so there's no conflict between Inktegrity and APT, but how they're going to serve the tattoo practitioner community, and have a strong cooperation, strong communication, strong education about what we're using, as well as what is going on when it comes to all of our products, how it's affecting our laws, right? I just, walk around here. I was talking to some of the guys at the History Museum about, we need to do something about this. They just made it illegal to use Bactine in Michigan. And, if you get caught tattooing on skin that has any anesthesia in Michigan, you could potentially be charged with practicing without a medical license. And, we're working to fight against it. Maybe we should, this guy's like, maybe we should start a union. It's like, well,
yeah.
And so I think it's just really germane to the times. Is important that you guys are doing what you're doing, right? Is finally getting the manufacturers together again.
Yeah.
and then helping us with all this miscommunication and misinformation when it comes around what's in our products, how it's being managed, what's going on with the laws and such, right? So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you guys shared today. I was there, I listened, and if there was any way I could help out, I didn't need to because you guys nailed it. So,
Appreciate that. We were just all off the cuff. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of this has been off the cuff, really. I mean, for me and you especially, I mean, we spent a lot of time on the phone really kind of hashing
Right.
out the details of this, but I think where this all starts, you know, for me, 2012 is when I first started manufacturing products in the tattoo space. But even before that, as a working artist, I had identified, you know, issues with products that I was using. You know, just I always had an awareness of that, and I always had an interest in the products I was using, more on a deeper level than just the surface of like, what are all my friends using, and I'm going to use this because this is what everybody's tagging on social media, and this seems to be the latest greatest thing. I wanted to actually, as I was manufacturing products, I wanted to know what the ingredients were that I was putting in my products, how those ingredients worked, what was the purpose of those ingredients, you know. But then as I got involved with distributors and I started getting more exposure to more products, I realized that our industry is really just comprised of mostly artists creating products, right? Without real chemistry backgrounds or like
Exactly.
really any knowledge about how to properly manufacture products, right?
Sure.
Which is fine. I mean, that's where we all started at. That's where this industry was started at in those grassroots efforts. But now with the FDA and regulations coming into play, we can't operate like that anymore. We actually have to manufacture products the right way. We have to know what are in our products. And as a manufacturer, we have to be sure that the products we're putting in your hands as an artist are not going to put you at risk or put your clients at risk. And I don't know what the percentage of manufacturers in the space that could comfortably say that today is. And I'm not even going to throw a number out or guess what that number might be because it doesn't really matter. But the important part of it all is that we want Tima and Inktegrity to serve as that educational platform for both the manufacturers and the artists, and to be that bridge that brings those together, right?
Yeah, it should be.
That is an educational platform more or less than anything. Educate you on how to properly manufacture products, educate you on how to properly register your products with regulatory committees, give you the resources to do that without having to spend tens of thousands of dollars on outside consultants that don't have any input in our industry at all, don't care about what you do today. They just want you to write them a check, and they want to come in and help you become compliant. We've already done that, both of us.
Yep. It's about elevating the business too, right? So instead of just borrowing from other industries, like we've done so long in this industry, it's more of we're holding the pen now, and how do we elevate our businesses together in a united front, right? Across the board too, from tattooing to manufacturing.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I mean, just to kind of land what you're saying, it's great for a practitioner to know what is in our shit, right? And then, you know, I don't know if I'm going to speak for all the artists. I have had plenty of artists that have agreed with this statement. It's like, hey, what's in your tattoo ink? Pigment? Distilled water? You know, like, not like, do you really know what's in it? And I mean, those of us, there's some of us that have done research, but I know a lot don't, right? And now, you know, just knowing even like what's in your aftercare balm, you know, in like, how do you find that information? You know, like these are kind of things that this generation is paying more attention to for obvious reasons, right? You know, because we have to. If we don't, there's liability issues, and it's tough to know exactly where to look, right? Yeah, I think you mentioned at one point, Sean, like an SDS sheet is very, very vague. Like it gives you some general stuff, right? So it's so much it's so much more vital today to have an organization. It's like, this is exactly what's in your shit. This is how it was manufactured. This is the company you want to go to, or at least these are the companies or this is what these companies should be doing,
Sure.
right? And so,
It's not just the what's either; it's the whys,
yeah,
right? So
of
like,
course,
you could list all the things that are in different products, all the ingredients, but why and how do those affect the client? Why and how do they affect the artwork? Right? There's those questions out
yeah,
there too. I mean, I've said it quite a few times. I mean, it's mode of application that really matters, right? You could have a substance that, if you ingest it, is pretty bad for your health, but getting it tattooed might not be, and vice versa, right? In the medical world and in the EMS side, right, we could, if you inject oxygen into your bloodstream, that's pretty bad, right? But we got to breathe oxygen to survive. So it's a mode of application,
Right.
So just because you know what's in the product doesn't mean that it's going to apply to tattooing.
yeah,
So it's that part of education that
yeah,
the industry is really missing is, what does that mean? You know, I'll give you an example. We've talked about it a few times, but formaldehyde,
Right.
right? So over in Europe, it's a big deal in the pigment. Well, it's not formaldehyde like we're bombing people with it, right? It's a gas, right?
Sure.
And it's a byproduct of that energy creation. Well, how much of that can be harmful, right? So if we don't have that education around the whys and hows,
Sure.
then where are we at?
Yeah, people don't think about that stuff. It's like, but the regulators look at that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's we're just having discussions every day about some new thing that's popping up in regulatory language. It just seems like something new is coming to the surface all the time. So there's a lot of conversations happening behind the scenes every day with people that have the power to change and shape our industry in ways that may not be beneficial to us or the longevity of our careers, right? And so that's where Tima comes into play, where we're working with regulators, lobbyists, to try to make sure that we have a seat at the table where the laws are being written, which you're better at talking about that. That's more your expertise.
Yeah, I mean, for too long, we haven't had those honest conversations with the lawmakers and the regulators, right? From our perspective, it's been from other organizations' perspectives, and whatever their intent is behind having those conversations. So now we're at the point where we could do that as an industry, and as a trade as well. We could actually talk on our terms, and like you had mentioned in one of your videos, like there is no health crisis. Where's it at?
Yeah.
But now we have the opportunity as a group to speak to those lawmakers, and every time I was on the Hill, I got really good responses. There's a lot of tattooed Congress people and senators and a lot of staffers, and but the one common piece is the lack of education around the industry.
Right.
So we have to. It's on us. We became successful as an industry in spite ourselves.
yeah,
Like TV shows and all the fame around it, and famous people getting tattooed, and famous people tattooing, and this was going to come at some point.
Right.
Now we need to have those hard conversations with the lawmakers and educate them.
It's crazy that we're the ones here doing this, right? I think
Right.
about this all the time. I'm just like, how did I end up here? Like,
right,
how did I end up here and doing this stuff? And like, but it's really become a passion project for me, honestly. And it's really good to have guys like you on board with the initiative too. And I feel like we're already so much further ahead than we were, even just in this short window of time that we've been working on Tima and Inktegrity. I feel like the momentum is already so much stronger than it's been on past initiatives.
I
This
think
feels
so.
different. It feels better.
It does. The timing, I think, was right too. And it's needed, and I think everybody recognizes that.
yeah, and there's something that you said about why, and it goes into what you said too, so follow me here. Why do we need to know what formaldehyde is when it comes to the context of tattoo ink? Why do we need to know, how does a product affect your body physiologically different when you ingest it versus insert it into your skin, right? That same information that tattoo artists need to know, so do regulators, right? And because right now it's primed, I think it's primed because there's so much misinformation getting thrown around, just like you're saying, like there's these reports coming out that tattoos now you're going to get lymphoma, right? You're going to 21% increase of lymphoma, right? But that's based off of a study that's, I mean, we could tear that apart, but it's that huge of a buzzword, right? And then this twin study, right? Where it's like these tiny subsets. Now these little studies are creating these just sensationalist titles, and you see these things, and people get upset. But then as a regulator, you're like, but where is it? Like you're saying this, but why aren't there a bunch of tattooed people in the hospital with cancer? Why isn't there like some sort of mass, sores on all the tattoo people, right? So we're in this place where we're in a really prime position, and I think the APT has done a great job in the initial, like it was like the watchtower, like they've been on the watchtower while
Yeah, standing guard.
For 30 years, right? And they've been shining light on stuff, like helping out with individual state regulatory issues, keeping the artists that perk themselves up and want to pay attention. It's that beacon, right? But as a tattoo artist, and those who may be hearing this as tattooists, they know it's a craft that just takes so much time, energy, and effort. So there's only so much you can get out of a volunteer-based organization. And for, folks like like you, Sean, and Rob, you guys have seen it, and you guys are feeling that same call, but you got your own unique position in it. I mean, coming from the actually making products, like you said, like knowing exactly what's in it. Like I see the comments on your posts, and you got people that trust you. They're like, oh, Rob, like the ride or die type customers and artists, right? Because they know that like I could eat this stuff if I had to, right? Rob will eat it in front of me, right?
I have done that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, it's probably disgusting. But,
It is.
yeah. But hey, you're still here.
But I'm not dead.
Yeah. And
That's why his tongue's still blue.
right? And then I always say, like anyone who doesn't know Sean Brown, like he has been fighting for us for ever behind the scenes, and like probably like so many so many evaded catastrophes have happened, on your watch too. And it's just finally, like you said, the planets have aligned, the industry shifted enough to where tattoo artists, I mean, they're not the same breed anymore, right?
No.
They're a little different. They're smarter in ways. They want to know what's going on, because a lot of them want to know that, hey, am I going to have a career in 10, 15, 20 years? You know what I'm saying? And so I think whoever's hearing this, it's really important to hear that there's the manufacturers, like it's time for them to start coming together, and they're they want to, right? But there's going to be an organization that's going to be that other light, right? That's a place they can say, like, Rob, would you eat this product? And Rob will go, that'd be like a litmus test, like, will Rob eat these products? Oh yeah. If he eats those, I'll get those tattooed. You won't eat that. No, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, it depends. I used to do that as a safety, just a safety substantiation thing. But I've only done it with a couple of my products because I know they're safe to eat.
Yeah.
But they will give you diarrhea, so be careful. It can also be a good laxative. Disclaimer. But here's an interesting thing, and I don't even know if I've ever told you this. And this is important, and it ties right into why I think Tima will work so well. It maybe was it had to be before. Well, no, it was after COVID, because it was around the time when I launched Electrum Ink. Because I launched it at the Philadelphia show. You remember I had that big, massive trade booth, and you were there, and you came over, and this was kind of when we were still kind of new with each other.
Yeah.
and you were with Eternal, and you came over and you were checking out the Electromink booth, and I was like, I don't know if I trust this guy or not. You know, he's with Eternal. Is he just over here fishing for information? Like, because that's always been
Well, yeah.
that's the way we've always felt towards each other in the manufacturing space in the industry. And I think a lot of us still feel that way towards one another. And I think that's why past initiatives have not always worked out, because we've always been worried about the politics other people bring to the table, right? And what the agendas are. I think you and I quickly got past that with each other.
Yeah.
We established trust and rapport with one another, and we realized the power that we could have working together. And one of the first ground rules that we laid out when we started putting this together was, we said, hey, none of this political bullshit comes to the table here ever. Like, manufacturers come in, I don't give a fuck what your formulas are. I don't care what you're, not interested in any of that. Just want to make sure that you're compliant and that you're manufacturing safe products. And we want to be able to help you do that. Right? I don't even care if you're a competitor of mine.
No, I mean, if we want to be big boys and big girls in this world, we got to understand there's a new player on the field, right? And it's not any of us.
Right.
So we got to be the tattoo team, against the rest of the world. It's not competition anymore, right? We can still have competition, and I think competition is super healthy in any industry. But it's not. We can't be safeguarding to a point where we're not going to progress or sustain as an industry. Right. So it's like the new. I don't want to say enemy, but the new opponent on that field is the regulators, and it's also the media, and it's the people that don't have the interest or the understanding of our culture in their heart, right? Like, they just want to publish a paper to get it in a medical journal, or they just want to get a reaction from a story they're going to post in the New York Times. That's the new. So, and we tried this in previous attempts to get the industry together, talk about, hey, we leave everything outside the door and continue. I think everybody's starting to realize now that we got to be serious, right, and work together. And help each other out.
It took me a long time to get to that realization, because even going to the CTS meetings, in the first couple meetings I went to, that you just felt that weight in the room. It was heavy. It was a heavy weight in there.
Some of the heaviest meetings I've ever been in.
I mean, you just had so many different people in there that you didn't really comfortably share space with for a lot of years,
Right.
Like, you would see people at conventions and you just wouldn't talk to them.
No.
You'd have a competitor that you know these people, but you just stay out of each other's space, and you just navigate and maneuver around one another. So it's a different mindset to ask those people, come back to the table, let's work together, let's hold hands, let's truly be a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and really just work towards elevating and protecting this industry, because at the end of the day, we're here because we love here.
Right.
And business comes second to that.
It's like having a family full of step siblings, right? You pick on them and as much as you can, but if somebody outside the family comes to mess with them, it's a fight. And that's kind of what's happening, and we need to realize that we're stronger together. That's why I love the fact of, or the idea of the APT and Inktegrity and Tima kind of all working in unison, right? And we'll be unstoppable, and we'll be able to sustain our industry that way.
That's a good. I'm glad you just brought up that kind of topic, so we can kind of illustrate that. Like we've mentioned, Tima is the tattoo manufacturers, APT is the practitioners, Inktegrity is kind of the bridge between, and as I've mentioned before, just trying to articulate that to folks. Like, Inktegrity is, well, I guess whoever's watching this, right? If you're a tattoo artist, you want to know what's going on in the tattoo manufacturing realm, or the regulatory side when it comes to manufacturing our products, right? That's what Inktegrity is, right? If you're a practitioner and you want to know how to get liability insurance, You want to, do your bloodborne pathogens. You want to join a community of tattoo artists. That's APT, right? That's the practitioners. We come together and elevate each other. It's for tattoo artists by tattoo artists. But it's not going to be the manufacturers, right? The manufacturers are doing those old things and their own thing. And what you're saying right now is, I think, how tattoo artists were, in that sense of, like, I remember when you used to walk into a tattoo shop or you went to a convention, like you said, you tattoo artists there was friction. Some of the culture lend to, like, so much competition to where you had this kind of beef with each other, but that's gone because tattooing blew up. But the manufacturing held on to that for a time, and like now you're creating a safe space for them to become friends, right? To do their thing. And so if you're a ink manufacturer watching this, you want to look at Tima, right? Tima is where you're going to go and know how to become compliant with all the new MOCRA requirements, right? Be able to know what's going on with what's the final pieces of MOCRA, right? The safety substantiation. I'm sure there's tons of content to go that direction, but it will be. I think it will be so important for anyone that cares about tattooing to push and guide any manufacturer towards this end. Meaning, if you're curious about any of your products, ask if they're involved with Inktegrity or Tima, right? Find out if they will happily show you exactly what's in their products, minus the formulas. Are they aware of what is happening regulatory-wise? Like, are they even giving are they even caring, right? Are like, the lidocaine was a great example. I didn't even know what a lot of these lidocaine manufacturers or tattoo lidocaine products, they didn't even know what the regulations were. They were like, yeah, bro, this stuff's got like 5-7% lidocaine in it. Like, bro, are you following what's going on? No, what's going on? Like, I just think it's key for us to, if we want to be big boys and girls and work together, we also need to hold us accountable too, right? Like, if you got a stepbrother or sisters getting picked on, that's one thing. You protect them, but you also see if they're effing up, you want them to step up, right? And I think that's one thing that the APT is calling out too, is like, if you're still asking, what is the APT going to do for me, then you don't belong in APT. It's more or less, what are you going to do for tattooing? That, I think that's the key delineation. And manufacturers need to step up there, and that's what I love about you, Rob, is like, as a manufacturer, you want to know how can you give back to tattooing because of what it's given you, not how can you take advantage of it, more.
Right.
And I think it's time for that piece to come into play, and for people to know that that's what's happening, and I wouldn't have been interested in having this conversation if it wasn't guys like yourself, who I know ethically in your integrity is just, you got you got the right mindset about it. Like, if you're getting involved in your manufacturer and you want to know about Tima, like, you're gonna get it straight, but you're also getting the right people involved. Right?
Yeah.
No one's gonna steal your shit. It's not about competition. It's about cooperation. And if we don't, just look at the headlines and stuff.
Yeah.
And if we're not there correcting the misinformation and disinformation, I think, when it comes to the regulatory side, then just look at Europe.
Yeah.
Right? It's just look to you. Right?
Yeah.
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 Well, I like that you brought up lidocaine, and I think I always like to use lidocaine as an example, even though the focus is a lot on tattooing. But I feel like lidocaine is a key product that you should always use as an example and talk about, because it's one that's very, very fucked up. Like,
Yeah, it's controversial.
it's very
misunderstood.
well. So this is to any artist out there. This is a test that you can do if you're at a tattoo show, because I did this. I'll do it today if I saw.
You didn't eat it, did you?
No,
Okay, good.
but if I saw a lidocaine product being sold at a show, I've done this a bunch. I'll go up to the booth that's selling the stuff. I'll pick up the package. I'll look at it. I'll see, does it list the percentage of lidocaine on the package?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it doesn't. That's red flag number one, right? If it doesn't tell you how much lidocaine's in the product, you probably shouldn't buy that product.
Right.
Now, ask the people that are selling it, how much lidocaine's in this product? Oh, by the way, is this FDA? I don't see any FDA language on this package. Is this an FDA registered lidocaine product? Most of the time they'll just stare at you blankly because they don't even know the answer.
Right.
They're just selling the product, trying to make money off of you. They have no idea what's even in that product.
We could even back up just a little bit from that on the label. If it says it's for tattooing, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I just want to see how much lidocaine's in it, and does it have an FDA language on it or not?
Absolutely, and it's not just lidocaine too. People need to know that it's all the canes, right? The benzocaine, the tetracaine, all of the canes, and it's a combination thereof. So there is an amount that you can't go over even when you combine them.
Right.
So it's not just lidocaine, but the truth is, and you and I talked about this over the phone after the Michigan thing went down, is that stuff hasn't been okayed for tattooing ever.
Yeah.
It's not. This is not something new. What was new in Michigan is they called out a brand name specifically.
Yeah.
Right. In the state of Texas, you're not allowed to use any kind of topical anesthetic unless the client brings it in and the client applies it themselves, or you have a med director or a doctor prescribing it, right? Michigan now is a little bit more strict. I mean, you have to have a prescription no matter what.
Right.
So, or work for a doctor, but it's nothing new. But what it has done is it brought to light that there's a concern and a challenge with it, right?
It's anywhere between 8 and 10% lidocaine in this product. And the bad thing is I see tattoo artists promoting this product, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why? This is the education that needs to happen. This is why I will constantly talk about lidocaine till I'm blue in the face, because that's something that needs to change quickly. Not because I give a fuck if anybody's selling lidocaine products. If it's a legal, legit product, go ahead, sell it. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I have a problem when products put dangerous products in an artist's hands and push that liability onto an artist without the artist even knowing that they're assuming that liability. All the artist hears is, oh, I can give you a way to have no pain for your clients while you're tattooing them.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Just slather this stuff all over your client and good things happen.
Right.
Wrong.
Two things on that, right? One, MOCRA defines tattoo products as anything that comes into contact with the skin.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that, and two, what ink for some reason always gets blamed for all the problems.
Right.
Right. It couldn't be the 10% lidocaine you just put on that client that messed up the tattoo.
Yeah.
Right. I mean that's essentially getting tattooed in with everything else, too. So and then you look at ingredients like if it has epinephrine.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about
That's
that.
a whole nother ballpark right there. I mean, I've seen people actually have a reaction from epinephrine and pass out.
And if you don't know epinephrine, like if you ever get numbing products and you put it on and you notice the skin starting to look like an orange, like the surface of an orange where the pores open up really wide on the skin,
inflammation.
That's epinephrine.
Yeah.
It's like
The skin starts feeling like rubber.
Client sure does feel good, though. Yeah.
It's like tattooing over road bumps.
Yeah. That's epinephrine that does that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, again, the call to the APT is important for them to continue to educate the practitioners on these things, right? Because like you're saying, oh, I just want to have like a, sweet, I can make it to where I can bring in more clients because they come and get my tattoos less painful. Well, like let's educate you on what you should and shouldn't be using. And I think that is a trickle down, right? Like if a tattoo artist is knowledgeable about everything that they're using, then they won't buy the shit that's bad. And if they don't buy the shit that's bad, then they're not having bad outcomes, which then eventually ends up getting into the regulatory realm. So again, Inktegrity would be a great place for that practitioner to know, like, hey, just like you said, why is it getting all puckered when I tattoo it? It's because it's epinephrine. Oh, well, let me look for that on the thing, right? Okay. Now I know when I go to a show, I'm going to look at some lidocaine and be like, hey, did you read the label? Did you ask if it's compliant? You know, like, I mean, well, you can't use lidocaine on tattoos.
Yeah.
Well, most states. Right?
Yeah.
Unless the client brings it in and applies it themselves.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like being able to say, like, yes, if you're in Michigan, don't use that shit at all. You're going to get screwed. If you're in Texas, make sure your client has it on their body beforehand. You know what I mean? Like,
the whole point is, I mean, we all know there's a lot of inherent risk with getting tattooed, right?
yeah.
It's an adult decision just like everything else.
Sure.
We're taking a risk when we get tattooed. We're taking a risk when we tattoo. If we could help minimize or mitigate some of those inherent risks by knowing what's going on with the products, what's in them, how to use them, why we're seeing different reactions, all that, then that's just one more tool in the toolbox for the artist.
Yeah.
And a better outcome for the client.
Oh, yeah.
Which all equals sustainability for the whole industry, right?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, right? Tattooing is ancient. We're not going to stop tattooing each other as a species. The question is how restricted is it going to become? What's going to be used, and if it'll be by robots or not? No. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, do we want to be a part of it? Do we want to still have this awesome culture, be able to have the same kind of feeling and vibe? Well, it's going to require everyone to kind of step up a little bit more and follow the example of individuals like yourselves, what the APT is doing, right? You know, like, it's about looking to them, you know, and like, I like the pirate stuff too, but it's gone. For the most part, like, it's still the cool style.
We should never stop questioning authority.
No,
Absolutely not. No. But we should be the authority in this industry, right?
no.
Yeah.
Us as artists and as manufacturers, as distributors and suppliers should be the authority.
I like that. Just to go on the analogy, like, I imagine a good pirate back in the day knew how their musket worked really well. They knew how to sail a ship, right? They probably knew. They were more involved with it than just like, I'll just be a pirate and say fuck it. You know what I mean? Like they were to be a.
They knew what to steal.
Well,
You know?
they could. I love the pirate analogy because it's
Especially here in New Orleans, huh?
Well, it's a great
John
analogy,
Lafitte.
but it's a great analogy for where we're at in the industry today. Because if you look at the history of pirating, pirates eventually had an option. You can stay a pirate if you want, but if you stay a pirate, the consequences are, if we catch you doing pirate-like activities, we're going to hang you.
Right. Put you in a crow's nest.
Now, you can still do pirate activities, but you can do them the way we want you to do them, and you can be called a privateer.
Oh.
Right? Do you remember? That's if you go look at the history books, that's the history of pirates.
Yep.
You can become a legal pirate, and we'll call you a privateer, and a lot of shit came with that. But you still got to be a pirate, and you got to enjoy the pirate lifestyle.
Right.
But you had to follow the rules to do that. And it's kind of where we're at in the industry today, right?
Yeah, we have this opportunity to help set the rules, which is pretty unique too.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
So instead of like what happened in Europe where they set the rules for the tattoo artist, we have an opportunity here to set them ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it's important to add that. I love that. And that means you will actually have to know exactly what's going on regulatory wise. You actually have to work to being a professional. You have to care more about the client than just your pocketbook, right? It's not all about the Insta. It's about the long-term tattoo, right?
Right.
It's really meaning you have to elevate yourself too. I think the industry, like you said, we have the prime opportunity to guide the ship, but we need to be able to guide a ship, right? And I think that's what this is, because as soon as we said regulations, people are going to turn off. As soon as they talk about organization, people turn off. But those of you who do want to raise yourself up and see the future of tattooing be something worth being involved with, I think they know who they are, right?
Yeah.
I think their ears are picked up, and they know where to look.
Well, let me ask a couple questions just for people that probably want to ask these questions. I'm a tattoo manufacturer. What's the benefit of me coming and joining forces with Tima, being a part of Tima? Why should I do that?
Let me flip that a little bit. How much, as a tattoo manufacturer, how much did you spend on consultants that weren't in our industry to get you to where you need to be compliant?
I don't even know what the number is, but I can tell you it's north of $30,000 for sure.
At least, right? At least.
Yeah.
And that was probably just in 1 year or so, right?
It was about 18 months, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's a huge benefit right there.
Yeah.
Beyond having first row seat on what's happening on the regulation front, working together, we could really save a lot of money together and drive things forward in a way that are meaningful, right? So to me, that's the biggest benefit, right? Is we have those numbers together. We could set those standards together. We could, hey Rob, you need help. You want to become ISO certified. Okay, well, instead of going to spend 20 to 30 grand that first year and 5 or 6 grand every year after that, why don't we help you do that? Here are the steps to get it done. And if you need help, we have people within the organization to help you get that.
And this is a part of my membership.
Right. The other part is finding out about what ingredients are doing what and why, right? We could have those conversations. So those are some of the biggest things for me when I look at it. But overall, like I said before, it's I hate to use safety in numbers. Sounds kind of elementary, right? But it really is.
Well, I can speak to a benefit that I've had personally, just in my relationship with you.
Sure.
You know, like a couple weeks ago, I was having some problem with some of my ink that came off the line, right? And I called you up and I was like, hey, Sean, have you ever seen this? Because you have a lot of experience in the ink manufacturing. I'm fairly new to ink manufacturing. And this was a problem that I hadn't encountered before.
Sure.
So I called you up and I was like, have you ever seen this? And all of a sudden, you didn't safeguard anything. You just was like, well, it could be this, could be this, could be this. Mm-hmm. And so I had opened up this internal investigation process and I was like, that's really helpful. Like, I didn't even know to even think about that.
Right.
And so I took that back into the investigative process and it was just helpful, right? Like, that was a good benefit because otherwise I'm just on an island by myself.
Right.
Trying to figure this shit out on my own. And maybe I'm going to find the answer, maybe I'm not. Mm-hmm. But just in a 10-minute conversation, I was like 10 steps ahead of where I would have been otherwise.
Right. Having that network to have that information is pretty crucial, right? Because you're going to run into, there's going to be situations that you've been through that I haven't been through that you could share and help me, at least guide me in the right direction. Right. So that's a huge benefit to all of this. And imagine if we did that on a global scale together.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was like, when we went to the AFDO conference in Dallas in that first opening night when they were doing the opening presentation, and it was a room that was just filled with, I don't know, fucking 500, 600 people in there.
At least. Yeah.
But it was all food people. Mm-hmm. It was all food people. The representation of the tattoo community at that event was minuscule.
Right. One table, maybe.
One
two.
table. Like, it was, I was so disappointed. I was like, why? Where are all of my people at? Like, I'm around all these people that I don't even know. But I was inspired in that moment in time because I was like, man, how fucking cool would it be 5 years from now and this whole room's full of tattoo people. And we're sitting here talking about the safety in our industry and the products in our industry, and like we're having all these we're having a whole weekend filled with educational conferences where tattoo artists and manufacturers come together. I mean, that
educating each other and sharing and have you had many encounters with the FDA?
just a couple.
Just a couple. the anxiety level, and I think tattoo artists should be able to relate to this with their health inspectors coming in, right? You mentioned a bunch of food people. I mean, that's who's regulating the tattoo space,
Yeah.
right? So, in a tattoo shop, you have inspectors come in that don't specialize in tattooing. They specialize in restaurant
Yeah.
inspections, right? Same kind of vibe. But when the FDA comes in, they're no different. They have no clue what they're looking at in a tattoo manufacturer facility or any, razor blade supply house or a kingpin house. They have no idea what they're looking for. So they're there trying to look for guidance. On the flip side of that, you as the manager of that facility or the owner of that place, that anxiety sits in of, oh shit, the FDA is here. Being a part of an organization like that, we could help kind of ease that a little bit. Tell you what's going to happen during an FDA inspection, or what's going to, happen during a tattoo shop or a supplier inspection, what to look for, what they can and can't do, what you can and can't do. And
What
then
you should and shouldn't say.
Right. And then those steps after they're gone, what happens, right? Say they find something in your product that they don't like. What do you do? What's I'm sure the anxiety levels are going to be skyrocketing.
You're thinking,
right?
oh my God, do I got to do a recall now? What do I got?
Right.
I got to hold all
Right.
my distributors and recall products?
And let's remember, they don't know very much either. All they know is their SOPs and their procedures and how to check off the boxes, right? But if we could help, like those of us who have been through quite a few of those inspections, could walk the others through, hey, here's what you should do, here's the steps to take. Okay, they found something, no big deal. Let's do a root cause analysis. Well, what's a root cause analysis and how do you do that? Well, here's a template on how to do that. If you need help, we're here to help you.
Right.
If you want the help, right? But here's the steps. And those things help because, I've been involved in audits and investigations where, they want a root cause analysis. And if we weren't able to provide that to them, the next step would be a voluntary recall. But now that MOCR's in place, it's a mandatory recall if they choose. They couldn't do that before, right? So, but now that MOCRA is happening, they could actually mandate that recall on you. But how do you prevent that? And if that recall happens, what do you do? What are the steps to take then?
Right.
You could go hire a consultant and a lawyer for $60K, $100K, or you could be a member of a group of us that have been through it, and we could all help each other get through it.
Help to navigate through it.
Yep.
And the intent also is to secure legal counsel, to have legal counsel available for members.
For me, the sky's the limit. I think that we should have everything at our disposal. I think we should have legal counsel that specialize in FDA. We should have legal counsel that, that specialize in every little field that we're going to need, as well as lobbyists when we need them. I don't think it's something that we're going to need nonstop.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm just outlining what our big picture objective is, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a manufacturer and you're a member of Tima, you want to have those resources. So if you have a legal question, here's the number you call.
Right.
Here's the question. Here's an answer.
Right. Product insurance liability, have access to that, right?
And, again, come from the practitioner side, sharing, like, why would a manufacturer want to be involved with Tima? Well, if it is known that if you are a member of Tima, you're going through those proper steps, it's also good for the manufacturers to be affiliated, to have the symbol on the wall, right? Or to be on the directory, because then it's like, well, I can trust this manufacturer because they're going through these things, right? As opposed to us having to go through and just dig into our own research, which, as we said, historically, a lot of tattoo artists just choose what they think is cool, right?
Right.
What their friends are using. So
right.
That's another benefit for
and
manufacturers.
We had talked about that too. I mean, I don't know that we've kind of landed on a final answer yet or not, but we had talked about starting like an Inktegrity certification, kind of a product certification program that says, here's the Inktegrity stamp. We know this product is safe.
Right.
This product's been through the process. They're FDA registered and compliant. They're compliant with all the MOCRA regulations, whatever the case may be. Stamp of approval. Then when you're going around to these shows and you're picking up these products on the booths, and you're cognizant enough to pick up and read a label, if you see that mark, then you know.
Right. When you get down to the root of it, that you artist or manufacturers or suppliers alike just by being members that they care. They care about improvement. They care about progress. They care about the space that they're in.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's super important.
And they care about the safety of not only you, the practitioner, but also your clients.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. Yeah, no, and I mean, for any of those that are playing devil's advocates, like, oh, well, you're trying to create some sort of like cool kids club, because I mean, this is just from experience.
It's going to
with APT.
happen.
Oh,
I mean, it's going to happen.
But it's just important to call out that mentality. That's like, well, if you think that's the problem, then get involved, right? If you're like, oh, it's just if you aren't involved, then there's just going to be a few of us that are making the decisions. If you want a seat at the table, come sit down.
Yeah.
Right?
It's an open invitation.
yeah.
All are welcome.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a mastermind alliance, right?
Yeah.
More involved, the better.
Well, and that's that's another thing that we talked about when we
Right.
started this, We don't, again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, we said, hey, we're checking our personal agendas at the front door.
Right.
They're not here right now.
No.
They're not here all weekend. We're not talking about that stuff. It's just not important here. It's not the focus. That's the thing to remember, and I think about, I think guys like us are unique in this position because we're working artists. We have the experience from the artist, but we also have the experience from the manufacturing side. So we're able to play devil's advocate to ourselves in the mirror. We can look at ourselves and have a conversation between artist and manufacturer.
Yeah, I talk shit to myself all the time.
Right, and we can say, wait a minute,
seen it.
wait a minute. Exactly what you're saying. Well, what about this? Well, are you trying to police me, bro?
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to do that. So let me think about the way I'm structuring this and framing this, because it kind of seems like that. And I don't want that to be that way, right?
Yeah.
We're only trying to protect and serve the industry.
Right. And you said accountability earlier. And that's a big piece of it, right? And,
Yeah.
and if I've heard this from the FDA and I've heard it from congressmen. Like, why aren't you regulating yourself?
Yeah.
If
trying.
if you were regulating yourself, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Which half of that I call bullshit, but
Sure.
the other half makes a lot of sense. If we had our own standards that we followed and we checked each other on that, there would be no need for them to step in like they do. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll try to come up with one, but let's not give them one.
Yeah, and I wouldn't walk up, when I walk up to these booths with the lidocaine, going back to that as an example, anytime I've walked up to those people and I've asked those questions, I've never shit on those people. I've never tried to make them feel like shit about selling that product. I've just tried to educate them.
Right.
Be like, do you know how dangerous this could be? And they don't know most of the time. So I feel like it's just like if somebody comes into my supply shop to buy supplies and I know they're not a legitimate artist.
Right.
That's an opportunity for me to educate, not shit on. I never shit on an artist someone that wants to be a tattoo artist that I know isn't a tattoo artist. And, I've had people come into my shop and be like, is it okay to put needles in the dishwasher? Like, that's a legit question I've gotten before. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's a moment in time where I can I have a choose my own adventure path right there, right? Like, I can totally shit on this guy, or I can use this as an opportunity to educate, right?
Right.
I always choose the opportunity to educate. Because if I shit on the guy, it's not going to change his path.
Right.
He's going to go stick that needle in the dishwasher and tattoo on 3 people with it,
Exactly.
But I'm going to educate him and be like, no, it's not okay, and this is the reason why it's okay. And you probably should stop tattooing until you realize and learn these things, right? So it's the same thing with products to me.
Yeah.
Let's educate. Let's talk about allergies, because those are important. The ingredients and allergens and you can put something in a product because it smells good, but you may not realize maybe it's a nut-based ingredient, and there's a lot of people with nut allergies.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
So do you know that? Do you think about that when you're manufacturing your products?
Yeah, Mario Barth once, I don't know if you were there, is it early on in the CTS days, he had a big talk about scratchers, right? And he said, we got to get rid of that word. And you start calling them aspiring artists. Like that's what they are, Our industry is attractive to individuals and to people and businesses, right? And they're aspiring businesses, and you're right. If we use that moment as an opportunity to educate them, it's only going to improve the industry, whether or not they make it in the industry or not.
That's on them.
You know, we're paying it forward.
Right.
And so we need to change that mentality of completely safeguarding because, you know, the cat's out of the bag about tattooing,
Right, right.
you know.
Well, it goes back to that article that I wrote, the gatekeeping article, and the whole. That's another terminology, you know, that we really got to look at under a microscope. Gatekeeping. It's a
Right.
big word that gets tossed around a lot, and I'm not sure it's the right word anymore.
No, there's no more. Well, I mean, there's gates, but there's no more fence, right? You know, like I said, someone can hold that, and like there's a mentality that, oh, there's all this illegal activity. We need to make it to where you can't get tattoo equipment and need to take all the education off YouTube. I mean, it's just not going to happen, right? And so now it's the only way forward is to inspire and educate. That's the only way forward now.
Yeah.
We can't stop anything.
I like to call it strengthening the gates now. Reinforcing the gates. I mean, you know what I mean? Making the gates stronger and more secure, right? So that the point of entry is centralized through one channel, and it's the right point of entry.
It's almost a sense of like validation, you know, or legitimizing. Like we look at ourselves as professionals. We want the rest of the world to look at us as professionals.
Right.
Right. So how do we do that? How do we strengthen that gate?
So what's next? What's next? How do people get involved? What's all the good stuff?
For artists and academics and doctors and regulators, I would go to inktegrityproject.org. Be the first step. Sign up for the email list, right?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
we'll be getting a hold of everybody for our first meeting.
Yep.
From there, from manufacturers, suppliers, distributors, and companies involved, they need to go to Tima-tattoo.org.
Tima-tattoo.
Tima-tattoo.org to sign up. And then we'll be, you know, just kind of evolving from there. We're going to try to have our first meeting here in a couple weeks, either towards the end of this month or beginning of November.
The first board
and
meeting.
lay out the bylaws and share with everybody and hear some feedback and then start structuring committees. We have a committee that's already started. That's the Body Art Committee that's formally working with the Alliance of Food and Drug Officials. And that's a product committee. So they're going to take all the work that they've been doing over there now that AFTO has sunset the committee and pick it up under Inktegrity. So that's already a good start, and that's where people can come and have conversations with regulators about products. I imagine once they get started under Inktegrity, they'll kind of restructure some of their charges or their initiatives of the year. I don't really know. We'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
But you know what's cool is we hold the pin now. Our industry holds the pin. Like.
Yeah, it's important. Both the Inktegrity website, which is inktegrityproject.org, and Tima, which is tima-tattoo.org. They're just simple one-page websites right now.
Right.
We have plans on expanding those as we have to add more content and resources for the members. That's all in progress, and that's all the stuff that's going to be discussed during the board meetings.
Right.
Again, this isn't the Sean and Rob show. This is not intended to be.
No.
We're just the founders. We're the guys that put the foundation of this together, and that's all it is right now, is a foundation.
That's all it is, and that's
The
the beautiful
walls
part
will be
about
built by a team.
Right, and that's the beautiful part. People can come in now and be a part of that structure and a part of building that up.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's supposed to be, an even playing field for everybody. Somewhere where transparency is key, and we could have open conversations and really set those standards for our industry, and especially in the eyes of the lawmakers.
Yeah, we published a white paper that's on the Inktegrity website, which basically just outlines the vision of Inktegrity. So yeah, highly encourage any practitioner, regulator, manufacturer, scientific expert, anyone that has interest in the tattoo community at all can be a part of this, can have a voice in this.
Collectors, I mean,
collectors.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. So, yeah, check us out.
Hopefully one day people are going to look back and look at how this house was built on a strong foundation.
Right.
Right? Because that's when the winds are blowing, the storms are coming, because the storm's coming. Is that structure going to be built on a solid foundation? And this is two solid pillars. So from a practitioner, we're welcome. APT, of course, you're welcome here too. If anything, we need you. We need you to ask those questions that they need to answer, right? Because only you're going to have those specific needs as a practitioner that they may overlook. So let's continue to head down this path of unity between the tattoo artists and manufacturers, the collectors, and see tattooing as something that is going to be beautiful moving forward.
Yeah. Also important to highlight, you. Let's not forget about you, because you've been helping us out a lot. The content creation, the videos, just volunteering to step up to the plate, and helping us keep our foot on the gas pedal. You hit us up last week and you're like, hey guys, we need to have a meeting. It's been a little bit since we've talked about things we need, and we all get busy, and we're all busy. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is that we all bring a different area of expertise, a different thought process, a different element that helps benefit the bigger picture. So all these things aren't possible without you.
That's right.
And people like you and people that are out there watching. There's something that you have to offer as well. And we need all the help we can get. Well, 25 brains are better than one brain. 200 brains are better than 25. So Alliance of Professional Tattooists, great resource, great organization to get involved with as well. And I'm just grateful to be doing this with both of you guys.
Yeah, me too.
Feels like the right thing.
It is.
So
I'm looking forward to the next steps.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Put them in there.
Bye.
All right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a wrap for this episode of The Business of Tattooing. I appreciate you tuning in and being part of this journey to level up the industry one conversation at a time. If you found value in today's episode, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another artist who could use this knowledge. Got questions or topics you want me to cover? Hit me up on Instagram at NoFlashNinja or email me at rob@electrumsupply.com. And remember, tattooing is an art, but running a successful business is a skill. Keep pushing, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time on The Business of Tattooing.